Hey, what's going on, Los Angeles? What is up, and welcome to the Rams Skinny here on the LA Football Network, live on the My Dear 1090 ESPN Radio. Thank you, as always, for making us a part of your day, whether it's a commute in the car, whether you're watching at home on our Rams LAFB YouTube page, or you perused over to LAFBnetwork.com to check us out there, or you're on any of the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, any of those. We appreciate it. If you're not on any of those, please go hit that like and subscribe. Rams, LAFB, YouTube, any podcast platform, as I said, or on LAFBnetwork.com. You'll find all of our Rams content there in one place. Got a fun show for you today. We're going to talk some trade scenarios for the Rams first round pick. I mean, we might dedicate a lot of shows to the Rams having a first round pick just because it hasn't happened since the existence of this network. Since we founded LAFB, the Rams haven't had a first round pick. So we get a lot of chatter about it, have a lot of fun. So Skinny T, who I'm about to introduce, has a great article on LAFBnetwork.com documenting some potential scenarios. We're basically just going to go through that and kind of talk about what could be and basically what Les Snead will not do, because we know he won't listen to us because he wants to do something that everyone thinks he won't do. So, but we'll have some fun with it. But first and foremost, as always, welcome to the show, my co-host, Mr. Ryan Skinny T Anderson. What's up, my brother? How are we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I have some bad news to break to you, though. Colby Parkinson did sign yesterday, had some pictures taken. The mane is gone. The flowing locks are gone. He's cut it down. He's cut it down to about an ear length, just nice kind of a bob. And
he's rocking a bob. Are you kidding me?
Well,
I did not even see
it kind of looks like original Justin Herbert kind of flow, as they call it. Have you seen any of those videos from the Minnesota State Championship, the haircut state championship?
I don't know if I have. I haven't.
We're both. Yeah. Hair is very important in hockey, and they're all rocking different kinds of mullets and facial hair orientations, and it's got a lot of traction. A lot of people are watching this video. Go check it out if you haven't. Hockey state championship, something like that. It'll probably get you there. But
I do pay attention to the Minnesota State hockey just because it's so big out there, and we both have ties there. And one of my really good friends lives in the Twin Cities now. He lives in St. Louis Park, and his wife went to Edina, and Edina just won the state championship yet again. And they feel like for their state hockey championship, they fill out the Minnesota Wild's arena, like it's sold out for hockey championship. It's like, my buddy was like, this is the first year he went because they moved there just a few years ago. And he's like, dude, it's nuts. It's like almost crazier than an NHL game.
Yeah, they probably have more fans than the Wild do on a regular basis. So yeah. They talk about the lettuce and the flow, so Parkinson got rid of his flow. He's back down to something a little bit more moderate. So sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
That is bad. I mean, I hope it's not like a Samson situation where he loses his powers too, like from the Bible, from biblical times. So hopefully there wasn't some hidden gems in those luscious locks, and he still brings that blocking tenacity to Los Angeles. But aside from that, we found our Aaron Donald replacement. Did you see that?
Finally.
We can break that news. As of today, we're set at defensive tackle. I'll let you break the news. So you can go from a downer news to upper news.
Laurel Murchison, guys, he's back on a one-year contract.
One-year deal.
261 snaps on the defensive line last year. He's a much-needed depth piece along that interior defensive line. So, hey, not a bad signing at all. So we'll see what he's made of next to Kobie Turner.
Yeah. Jokes aside, they needed depth desperately, so it's good to have a guy back in the building that knows the culture, knows the team. Did get some reps in there, so it's a good signing. Good to get him back, but not an Aaron Donald replacement, but hey, good to have depth there. So
maybe in one of these trades we've got like an Aaron Donald replacement. Maybe, I don't know.
Teaser. That's what we're about to get into right now. Show is always brought to you by our friends at BetOnline. If you aren't watching March Madness, I don't know what you're doing. It's the biggest thing going on right now. A couple big upsets yesterday on Thursday. I love March Madness. I won some money on BetOnline. You can do a bunch of different parlays. This is the funnest. Funnest is not a word. I know that. This is the most fun kind of 4 days of sports from Thursday to Sunday, as they do the round of 64 and the round of 32, and tons of stuff to bet on. You can do it all at betonline.ag. If it's your first time there, use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. Gets you a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. I have to say, Skinny T, I was my alma mater, Long Beach State, First time in the tourney since 2012 when I was a student there. We sneak in by winning the Big West after our head coach is fired. Team rallies, makes it in. We get a tough draw with Arizona, who's a 2 seed, down only 7.5, and then just ran out of gas. But it was fun dancing. Who are you? Is there someone you're pulling for? I know you're a Nebraska guy. Is there someone you're pulling for?
I haven't even looked, man. I'm sorry to say I haven't had the time. I'm kind of taking on new responsibilities as LAFB grows, and that's a good thing. So, yeah, I'm going to check something out, and I'll catch up. I'll pick somebody to root for. I'm always going to root for the underdog.
There you go. I have a Grand Canyon State or Grand Canyon University. I think I have them going actually pretty far. They're a high seed, but they've lost only like 3 games or something. So I'm like, all right, that's my big underdog push. So I think they're playing right now. But anyway, let's get into some Rams chatter here. So fun article. Check it out on LFBnetwork.com. We'll kind of go through it. Skinny, you kind of give some scenarios of the Rams if they can trade up. And, what I love is you actually do it very realistically. A lot of content creators out there just throw all these things that just have no absolute possibility of happening. So, realistically, what it would take to move up, what they could get if they move back, potential guys if they stay put. So how do you want to start this off? Do you want to go through? I think you started off by trading up. Is that what you did?
Yeah. Which, often in years past, it seems like the Rams would never do anything like that. But this year, it almost seems like that's a distinct possibility given the high caliber of talent that they need to add to this roster. No edge rusher, no high-end edge rusher to speak of. We'll see about that. Aaron Donald gone. And then cornerback as well is a bit of a question. So they need high draft picks. And if they want to get the guy that they want, they might have to trade up.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's not a lot of left out there in free agency. Still some vets. We've talked about it ad nauseum, so we're going to bring up names again. But, I assume they will add at least, obviously we mentioned the D tackle re-signing, but I would assume they'll bring in one more vet at either the secondary or the edge position just to have a body there, another body there. But the focus, at least for us, for the purpose of this, I think in that first round would be someone on the defensive line, whether it's edge or D tackle or at the corner position. And we've mentioned some before, but some of these guys, in order to get, they may have to move up. And you look at, it's going to depend kind of how the quarterbacks go on the board. We know pretty much without a doubt, I think, that the first 3 picks will be a quarterback, whether the Patriots stay at 3 and take one or someone moves up to 3 to take one. But we're pretty confident that a 4th one will probably go in the top 10. And then from there, we'll see what really happens and what goes on with the receivers that there's a ton of talent on. So for the Rams, the more quarterbacks and receivers and even tackles that go early in the first, the better, because that's just going to push those talented edge tackle, D tackles, corners to their potential spot at 19 where they wouldn't have to move up. But let's talk, if they do move up, some scenarios that maybe you could see playing out.
Yeah. So my first one was with the Atlanta Falcons. Our good pal over there, Raheem Morris, is now the head coach, and they got a brand new, old quarterback in Kirk Cousins. So they might be looking to get into that wide receiver market, maybe find somebody on the offensive line for him. So, good relationship there. So maybe McVay picks up the phone. I have him trading the 19th and the 85th pick to the Falcons to move up to 8. And at 8, they would pick Alabama edge rusher Dallas Turner. What do you think?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, if they can get up to, and I know you did a bunch of research, so it wasn't just throwing it out there, but if they can get up to 8 by just giving up 19 and then a mid-round pick this year, I mean, I think that's a home run. It'll be interesting to see what other offers come in for Atlanta at an 8, because obviously teams like Minnesota have been rumored to be wanting to move up. They may even move up to 4 or 5 with the Chargers because they're in desperate need of a quarterback. But if all the quarterbacks go before 8, so let's say Minnesota moves up to 4 or 5, and so then at 8, there's really no one that's going to move up for a quarterback. You could potentially have their trade value diminish a little bit if they didn't pull the trigger earlier. And so you could potentially move up for that. And I think if you can, to me, because of how many picks the Rams have, it's a home run. A guy like Dallas Turner obviously comes from a great program, a lot of talent. A guy that can come in and be a starter right off the bat if need be. And then it guarantees you kind of get a guy that can come in and do some work. So I like Dallas Turner a lot. I think that could be a good one.
Excellent. So the other one I have for trading up is with the Indianapolis Colts. So they would trade their pick. The Rams would move up 4 places to ensure that they get a guy like Derion Arnold or Cooper DeJean, both cornerbacks. Derion Arnold is big and physical, and a guy that I would love to see in the defensive backfield for the Rams. Cooper DeJean, on the other hand, can play anywhere. He can get up in the box. He can play safety. He can move out to cornerback, and we know the Rams love that versatility. Also a big dude, a big hitter as well, playing a lot of safety. So I like that guy a lot. So they swap picks, and the Rams toss in the compensatory 99th pick in the 3rd round to sweeten the deal a little bit. So for the Colts, they just move back a couple of places, and they end up picking one of the other cornerbacks that's left over. Plus, they get to add on a little sweetness in the 3rd round.
Yeah, this one I think is much more likely, not in the sense of can happen, but in the sense of like the Rams would be willing to. And I think moving up those 4 spots, you mentioned, obviously Derion Arnold and others, but I think it basically, in my opinion, guarantees them to get Arnold, to get DeJean, to get Latu at edge, or Byron Murphy, the D tackle out of Texas, which I think is probably the top D tackle or one of the top D tackles in the draft. And so at 19, you still probably have a good shot of getting one of those guys, I think. But if you move up to 15, I think you guarantee any of the 4. Things can go crazy, obviously, but most mock drafts I've done, you have Latu going in that 15 to 20 range. You have Cooper DeJean going in that 16 to 25 range. You have Derion Arnold kind of can go top 10 or fall back in the 20s. And same with the D tackle, Murphy. I think he's kind of all over the place as well. But I think if you're in that 15 spot, you could almost guarantee you can get all 4 of them. Plus, it allows you to wait and see how the board falls. If you move up to 8, you're moving quick, right? Like you're either there's someone you absolutely love that you don't want to miss on, but you got to make the decision pretty quick and early on. Whereas 15, it allows the Rams to see kind of the board continue to fall out, and they can say, all right, these are the 4 guys we want. Let's move up 4 spots to ensure we get them, but they're not like jumping up to 8 early and maybe reaching a little bit. So this is a scenario I really like if they're sticking with a defensive guy at that spot in the first.
Yeah, it gives them a lot of choices at that spot. Like you're saying, you can add to the defensive line there. You can pick up maybe the second best edge rusher in the class. If you want to go for a Jared Verse, that he's kind of falling in that range. You got your pick of cornerback. You got your pick of edge. Like we've always been joking, Les Snead doesn't care what we want, what any fans want. He might go offensive tackle. He might find a replacement for Alaric Jackson there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
just the last 2 years, right? Or I guess you can go back 3 years. Everyone, 3 years ago was like, okay, they need an offensive line. They need this. What do they do? Tutu Atwell with their first pick. And then last year, I think the big need was probably edge or cornerback, kind of like it is this year, or some juice maybe on offense. And they make a very good pick, but they go and get Steve Avila, who I don't think anyone at the time was like, that was a huge need right then at getting a guard or center.
Yeah.
Obviously it paid off, but so we know Snead is not going to take the, just the need, what everyone thinks is.
The less need.
The less need. Yes. The lesser need, I guess.
Yeah. So those are kind of my two thoughts about just trading up in the draft. And kind of my next scenario is the Rams' usual MO, which is trading back and just accumulating picks, which I actually think is a little less likely this year, just because they do need that high end talent. Mm-hmm. But a couple of scenarios there. Cowboys trade 24 and 87 so that they can move up to 19. The Dallas Cowboys made no splash moves in free agency. They re-signed their long snapper, I heard, so good for them on that. But they lost a really key piece of their offensive line, and they want to move up and ensure that they get one of the good guys kind of at 19. So that's one idea. And then Cleveland Browns haven't had a first round pick in the last few years. They want to jump up and find, maybe one of those receivers or land another offensive tackle for themselves. So they trade 54, 85, and 156 for 19 and 196.
Nice.
Any thoughts
nice.
on moving up like that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is the year where, at least in the first, I could certainly see it in later rounds, but in the first, I feel like it's less likely to trade back just because, when you have a guy like Aaron Donald, you're afforded to accumulate picks and develop because he is that good. He masks a lot of other positional needs, but now they don't have that. They need a top end talent, I think, at every level. And they don't have that right now on the, we could call Kobie Turner getting there, but it might be it might be premature to say that yet. You have it in Ernest Jones. And then I guess we can call it Cameron Curl right now on the back end as your kind of premier guy. But they don't really have that on the D line. And so I think you need a first rounder to get that. But trading back to 24, I think is, it's only a few picks back. Again, if the board is falling in favor where they're like, hey, we have 5 or 6 guys we still love, then absolutely trade back and get more picks. And I think that's the way, most teams play it is they look at, is there one guy, if we miss on, we're going to really lose sleep at night. If that's not the case, then it's, hey, we're good with any of these 5, then yeah, absolutely move it back and load those picks up. So I think it's less likely this year, but if the board falls and everything goes crazy on offense, absolutely. And maybe we'll see one of these big defensive guys. I mean, again, Latu now is, a lot of people are saying, could fall to the end of the first round. So, I mean, you can get Latu at 24. I still think, to me, that's like, maybe it's biased for being LA, but that's still one of my top picks is Latu. Now, I think Murphy has definitely risen for me because of no more Aaron Donald, and you need that premier D tackle. And Murphy brings a lot of great upside at that D tackle position. But for me, I still think Latu is like my top choice. And if you can get him at 24 and get another pick, or even, what was the Browns pick again? Sorry, you said, but
it's a fun one. It's what did I put it at?
They move, all the way back.
Yeah, out of the first round completely. 54, 85, and 156. So, I just doubt seeing. I don't see it happening. I think they'll probably use it. Just as we've said, if they stand with 19, I think Latu's a fantastic pick there. I don't think Murphy is going to last. I don't think he's going to last to 19.
It seems like he keeps moving up more and more as the process goes on, right? And Latu's like dropping more and more for whatever reason. So again, these are analysts mock drafts. I don't know if that's the case for actual like teams, but it seems to be the case.
Who knows? So last scenario is they trade number 19 to go get a veteran star to fill one of those needs.
That's very Les Snead like. So let's hear this.
Yeah, I've got a couple of fun ones. So for my first edge rusher, the Rams trade 19 to the Miami Dolphins for Bradley Chubb and pick 184. Now I cross-referenced all these moves with PFF mock draft simulator. Who knows? But these are hypotheticals and fun. My rationale is Miami needs to get cheaper. They need to invest on their offensive line. They always want to add speed to their offensive playmakers, and this is a way that they could clear some of that cap and create room for other guys in that way. So Bradley Chubb, you've got some familiarity as a Denver Broncos fan with Chubb. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, Chubb is, tremendous upside. He's had some very good years. It's his injuries have just been kind of the issue with him is staying healthy. And we know how the Rams' luck has gone with adding injury prone players. They usually err on the side of getting injured. They don't seem to break that bag of being able to all of a sudden stay healthy. I know when the Broncos traded Chubb, it was Chubb and a 5th, and they got back a first round, a 4th round, and a running back, Chase Edmonds. I think since then, Chubb's stock has fallen more just because he's older. B, he's been injured since being in Miami. So it definitely seems like they can basically get him back for just maybe not even at first, but obviously in this scenario, we're talking first round picks, but they could maybe use a second to go get him. And if that's the case, the upside is certainly there. Super talented former 5th overall pick back in, I think it was 2018. So still fairly young, and brings some veteranness to that edge room that they desperately need. And so you got to ask yourself, like, do we take Latu at 19, or do we take Chubb at 19? I mean, that's how you look at these things, right? Are we taking a younger, unknown commodity with our pick, or do we just go and get the guy that's proven himself? You could argue if Chubb's proven himself or not, but Les Snead has always gone with the latter, just trading the pick for the proven player. And so this, I think, is something that I think could absolutely be likely to happen, especially if they can get Chubb for even cheaper than a first. So fun scenario.
Yeah. So, only 28 years old. He's going to be 28 years old pretty soon. 11 sacks last year, 6 forced fumbles.
Yeah, even being injured. I mean, that's good production.
Yeah, 16 games last year. So, heading in the right direction.
Coming off a healthier year for sure.
Yeah. My next one for a cornerback. This guy had 9 interceptions last year, set the world on fire over in Dallas. Once again, Dallas getting desperate to make Dak Prescott happy. Go after Deron Bland, trading 19 and 99 to the Dallas Cowboys for Bland himself. Is that an overpay, underpay? Is he not proven enough? What do you think?
I would err on the side of an overpay. Obviously, 9 interceptions. I mean, incredible, right? Didn't watch a ton of Dallas Cowboys tape, but he seemed kind of like that feast or famine guy a little bit from what I watched. Again, people out there know probably better than me. I didn't watch a ton of Dallas Cowboys, so if anyone wants to yell at me in the comments, feel free. But some of the times I did watch, it was either an interception or a blown coverage. It was like that feast of kind of like a Marcus Peters. Like, I'm not saying they're the same player, but Marcus Peters over his career, and even when he was with the Rams, like greatness in sometimes, and then just like frustrating in others. And so when you give up a first for that, it might be a little rich, but I definitely wouldn't hate trading for the player. Hopefully they could just get a little cheaper if Dallas wanted to move on from him.
So all of last year, Los Angeles Rams, 10 interceptions. Deron Bland on his own, 9 interceptions.
I mean, hey, 9 picks, baby. That's 9 opportunities for touchdowns that you didn't have before that.
You got to get it back to that offense. The offense is really going to hum. I'm excited about it. If anybody's going to be yelling at anybody, they're going to be yelling at me for this move. I think this one's a bit of a stretch for me, but that's kind of some exciting upside. And like I said, these are hypotheticals. And hypotheticals, like, who would have thought Jalen Ramsey would have ended up on the Rams in 2018 or something like that?
Exactly. So you never know with old Lester P. Snead.
Lester P. Snead. Is his middle name something really with a P?
Oh, look, while you're saying your next scenario.
Okay. So my next scenario is my favorite one. I've talked myself into this completely that it could happen. And I actually pitched a different trade scenario before the season for one Max Crosby, Las Vegas Raiders.
Ooh.
In this scenario, the Rams are going all out, trading the house, pick 19, 99, and 2025's first round pick to land the man himself, Max Crosby.
Wow. So first of all, I'll just say I don't know where Lester P. Snead came from, because his actual name is Samuel Lester Snead. So Les is his middle name. So I have no idea where the P. I've heard it before. I don't know if I've seen it on Twitter or what, but
it's
whatever.
P's a great middle initial.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a Civil War hero or something. Lester P. Snead, like some monument somewhere. So Max, I mean, this is obviously the home run, kitchen sink type trade. Crosby, what is he, 26 or so? I know he's 3 years left on his contract with the Raiders.
About to turn 27.
About to turn 27. So he's under this year. And in the next 2 years, there's no guaranteed in his salary, and his cap hits around $27 million. So not cheap, but it's not as bad as it could be for some of, I mean, Joey Bosa's cap hit was almost more than that, and he's a lot older and been injury prone. So we were entertaining that idea. So, I mean, we know how great Max Crosby is. You lose Aaron Donald, you're never going to replace him, but you're going to get pretty dang close in production with Max Crosby. So this is the one where I'm like, if Snead can pull this off, no matter how many picks, I think it's great if you can get a guy like Max Crosby in the building.
Yeah, I don't have any really solid evidence that the Rams have, or the Raiders have any interest in doing something like this.
Probably
But
not.
their team has been decimated. They have really nobody. They got Aiden O'Connell. Maybe they accumulate these picks and trade it. Maybe they're the one that trades up to 4 and goes after JJ McCarthy. Um, you know,
That's what. Not to cut you off. That's what I was going to say. The Raiders are at 13 right now. We know they need a quarterback, right? They need desperately a quarterback. They signed the Minshew mania, Gardner Minshew, and then they have Aiden O'Connell. So I mean, those aren't long-term options. If they want to move up, they're obviously moving on 13. They're probably moving on a first from next year. Or if they can come with ammo and be like, oh, we'll give you 13 and 19 from this year because the old Rams snuck in and got Max Crosby. I mean, there's ways you could actually make it work where it's enticing for the Raiders to be like, we're losing a generational player in Crosby, but we can have our potentially quarterback for the next 15 years if we make this move. So it's not as far-fetched as maybe it seems on the surface.
Yeah, there are worlds that this could happen, and we're talking about losing Aaron Donald. You add a guy that's just 27 years old. You got another 5 to 8 years with this guy in some version of peak performance. He hasn't been hurt really at all. He's played 17 games the last 3 seasons, 16 the year before that. So, super durable. He's played a ton of snaps as well. Yeah. Which we don't want him to play that many. We want him to stick around to be healthy, but he's really been put through the ringer. And like I said, the Raiders have to add a lot of talent to that roster to get to like even a 500 team, much less a winning playoff team. So I don't know. I like it for the Rams. It could work for the Raiders. So I'm in on it. I'm kind of all in on this one.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the only other reason why it's feasible to think about. And he's the face of the Raiders. They obviously love him. Like he came out and said, like, if you don't bring back Antonio Pierce, trade me. And I'm not saying they necessarily listened to him because of that, but they obviously brought Pierce back. Like, so it'd be very hard in that standpoint. But when you think about it from an organizational standpoint, and that they're, new brass in there, Tom Telesco in there, when Tom Telesco is very unlikely to make big trades because he never did with the Chargers. So that's where the big holdup would be. But you got to think like, okay, we have this super talented pass rusher who's, you said, 26, turning 27?
Yep.
If we don't go get a quarterback now, we're basically going to waste the next 3 years of his career / contract. Like we have him under contract for 3 years. Do we think Gardner Minshew brings us to the promised land? Because as great as an edge rusher is, you're not winning a Super Bowl without at least a decent quarterback. And Gardner Minshew, is a decent quarterback in terms of a good backup that can win you some games, but he's not leading you to a Super Bowl. So from an organizational standpoint, you say, we might as well trade him where we can get the most value now so we can build around a quarterback for the future. So that's my sales pitch to the Raiders to be like, let's make this deal happen. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Love it. Hate it. Any of these moves, let us know. These are hypotheticals. I hope nobody takes me too terribly seriously or takes it personally that we're trading away picks at all. But you got to explore these situations. As we know, Les is open to it. We just posted another article today from our Raider Vincent that they're taking calls. They're taking calls. No, wait, that was the Chargers.
I'm sure the Rams are too.
Yeah, they certainly are.
I mean, this could potentially be the last chance for an F them picks mentality in the McVay era, because we know McVay's time is, he's on borrowed time at this point. Like it's not going to be coaching forever. So this may be the last opportunity for an F them picks all in situation. As much as we want to see them take a someone in the first round, I feel much better about them not taking someone in the first round if you have Max Crosby. Now, if it's Chubb or Bland, I don't feel great about it. I don't absolutely hate it, but in that scenario, I think I'd rather just stick and hold with the pick. But if it's Crosby, I'm all in. Go get it. Go make it happen, Les.
Yeah, there
East need.
There is a window that we're looking at right now, right? Where McVay's talked about retirement. Stafford's at the end of his career. Kupp is somewhere around there. We've already discovered what happens with Aaron Donald in this window. So there is a window, and it's not going to be open forever. So this is like you're saying, this is the last time to take a big swing.
Yeah, we want these guys to be, as Aaron Donald said, full, but full with another Super Bowl ring on their way out. So let's make that happen. But that'll do it for us. All the time we got. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Also going to mention our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Head to underdogfantasy.com. Use our promo code RAMSLAFB. Get a $100 match deposit on your first deposit. So let us know what you guys think. If you want the Rams to stand put, trade up, trade back. Or trade for that big superstar. So let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we appreciate you as always for the support. Everyone have a great weekend. This is the Rams Skinny. For Ryan Skinny T. Anderson, I'm Ryan Dyrud. Everyone stay well, stay blessed. We'll talk to you all beginning of next week.